Oh yeah, this dude. I still don't know why he does that on the stairs. Very strange. Ah. Ah. Chad, did you know that the DragonRiders are actually, like, good? I don't know what the health like threshold for it is, but once they reach like a certain level of health, they stop doing just 2 attacks, and like all of their attacks go into full combos that have like variable lengths where they can like cancel out of the combo and like not do all the moves every time. They're like actually good, but you don't realize that because for like half of their health bar, they're just doing like the same 2 attacks. They also have a shield bash, and they have one very special move where if you're far away and they're sprinting, they'll do like a sprinting attack. And they never have the opportunity to use that sprinting attack because you always fight them in like close quarters or like some weirdly confined space. Yeah, and he has a shield bash. The tragic thing is he's programmed so he only uses the shield bash if you're turtling. And even then, like, he doesn't use it much. That's one of the low health combos. Like, that's normally just the swing down, but it has at a certain health threshold, he has a full 3-hit combo for it. And whatever that threshold is, I'm gonna set it to like 75% HP or 70%. Because they should have like an easy, there it is. They should have like an easy grace period at the start, obviously. And then they should just fucking drop that. At least the first one. I think all the later ones could probably just use the full moveset from the start. Especially like the mid-boss ones that are just out in the world. Yeah, that's kind of why I like this guy here and why I don't... Like, it's kind of lame to just be like, oh, here's another DragonRider. I just fought 2 of these. That was the running attack. See how he like swung it up over his head, like to the side, and then swung down while he was running? No one has ever seen that attack. I guarantee it. There it is again. He uses it when he's a little too close, tragically. So he, like, misses very easily. But make the attacks more common. I'm going to adjust the health threshold for sure. And I think for all of the non-boss ones, they're just going to always use the full moveset. DS2 enemies are kind of joking with fast animations due to the fact that they're all easily avoidable by hugging the enemy straight from the left. Yeah. There aren't many enemies in DS3, or DS3, in DS2 that have, like, handling for if you're just standing behind them doing nothing, or circle strafing them. Velstadt comes to mind because he actually has a unique attack specifically for, like, swiping at you if you're staying too close to him. He doesn't use it often enough, of course, because this is Dark Souls 2. But they, like, made a special attack just for that. The Hade Knights, also, if you're standing behind them, they'll, like, really quickly turn around and swipe at you. DragonRiders have literally nothing. They have no behavior for if you're standing directly behind them. They'll just keep doing attacks, even if they can't track around fast enough to hit you. It's kind of pathetic. Yeah, and the turtles that fall on their backs, which is kind of my favorite example because it's a neat use of their design. Although it is a little too easy to bait out. Oh yeah, the ogres sit on you if you're standing behind them. That's also a good one because they're a large, slow enemy. Although that, again, very easy to bait out and they'll just keep doing it and then you can just cheese them that way. Backward shield bash would have been nice to DragonRider. Yeah, I think Dragon Slayer armor has something like that. If you're standing behind me, just whoosh, hits you with a shield. It's amazing because they do feints, fake attacks, etc. I feel like a different breed of enemy that was never expanded on. They don't actually feint. I think they have a janky... Sometimes they can cancel out of an attack, like on accident. I don't think they're programmed to feint. I think most of the weirdness of them just comes from the fact that they're kind of animated as though they can't see very well. So they tend to just kind of blindly swipe at you, and they don't really telegraph, because they're just kind of like very quickly swiping at like where they think you are, I think is the idea. Which does feel different, and it is good in its own kind of weird way, like breaks things up a lot and makes them interesting to fight. But I don't believe they faint or do like fake attacks or anything like that. At least not on purpose. Speaking HUD size adjustable possibility, I'm only not experienced with Witcher 3 and then tried to make smaller, more immersive. But no. There wouldn't be any way to either program that or make it something you could adjust in the menu. I can adjust the size overall, like I can do that, but that would just be the one size you get. So my preference is to keep the size roughly the same. You might be able to tell I pushed all the HUD elements out, and the soul gauge is actually quite a bit smaller. Everything is kind of a little more nicely laid out and takes up less space in the middle of the screen. Bloodborne really did fuck, yeah. Thing where they stop attacking, then boom, swipe you 3 times was intentional. I mean, the one where they like stand still for a second, and then really quickly swipe at you, like they dash towards you really quick, that one's intentional. And they might be programmed to like wait between attacks a bit. Although a lot of difficult early game enemies are, so they have like time to heal. Old Dragon Slayer is a really bad example of that. They made him wait like a fucking year between combos just so he'd be easier so he could get to the Covenant that's behind him, which should have just not been behind him, of course. DS2 somewhat unmodifiable in some ways. I mean, menus are very kind of not modifiable in all the Souls games. It just so happens that some things in the other games kind of handle extra entries or have some easier way of setting things up where you still can't make like a new menu, but you can like add elements to existing ones because they're already made to handle like a variable amount of those elements, if that makes sense. Like entries in a list kind of thing. Like in DS3, you can just add more starting classes and the menu's just programmed to show all of them. Like it'll even scroll up and down if it needs to. DS2 is just, the menus are all like hard code. Basically, there's no way to modify them. No way to add backtext to enemies. I can modify their AI so that they do certain attacks when you're standing behind them. That's possible. My mid, kill this guy. My poor boy's mad. I'll kill him. I'm reading chat right now. Ending classic Claymore from DS1/3? Yeah. I might do that. I think I figured out why they changed the design of the Claymore as well. If you look at the concept art for like the Faram Knight, or for the Faram set, it seems like there was supposed to be a sword and dagger that went with it, and the design of the sword was really similar to the Claymore. Like with like the angled crossguard and everything. It didn't look like a small Claymore, but like the silhouette was very similar, so I think they might have changed the Claymore's design and simplified it so it looked, it didn't like clash with that, so that they were more distinct from each other. Especially because the Claymore is like, in DS2 it's a little more of a standard weapon. It's kind of like the longsword versus broadsword. It's like bastard sword versus Claymore. It's kind of like the base level greatsword that has thrusting capabilities. But since that sword just doesn't exist in the game, may as well just be the original design. This one's bonfires are great because you're technically talking to them and the talk menu is very modifiable. Yeah, the talk menus in DS2 aren't modifiable at all. Played DS3 but never touched DS2. I'm planning on gifting DS2 then once your mod drops and overhauls the game. So it just makes it amazing to be completely sold for 2023. I have no idea. I think if your friend has played DS3 and liked it, then he's probably not going to like vanilla DS2. But I can't say when the mod will be done, because I do not know. When I only go back to gameplay footage of original DS2 to cross-reference the differences, and every time I see this room I forget how flat the original is. Accidentally thinking it looks good by default, and that DS2 is an underappreciated masterpiece. Thank you. Just a bunch of variations of basic medieval weaponry. Basically all perform mostly exactly the same, but they have slightly different looks and lengths, etc. I think that'd be boring to have just a bunch of weapons